expected to be released tomorrow afternoon. Sue had been productive in Miami, recording 15.5 sacks for the last 3 years, but not productive enough to justify the $114 million deal he signed back in 2015. He's not Ndamukong Brady. CC, can Sue help a Super Bowl contender at this point in his career?
For one, Ndamukong Suh has always made a lot of money. He was a top 5 pick, got the huge deal, largest contract, especially largest number for a defensive player.
Yep.
But when you don't have sacks, like, how's he going to help a team? He's not going to get to the quarterback. He's going to take him out of the run game as far as a double team. You know, to me, there's so many other players that you can get that can affect the quarterback. Typically, defensive linemen, let's go to Philadelphia, won the Super Bowl. NFL teams will try to duplicate what they did. They'll try to get a rotation. So guys aren't playing 60 to 70 snaps a game. That's kind of the trend in the National Football League. So when you have a defensive tackle like him, how much money is he willing to play for? You know, is he going to take a huge pay cut? And Ndamukong Suh, he's not a bad guy, but you say, is he a locker room guy? No. But he has been known to stomp a guy on Thanksgiving. So you need to consider that. When you have younger players going to be around him, I don't think he is the vocal leader that sometimes you need when a guy who is at his age and what you want him to do for a team. So I think buyer beware.
See, so I think at the right number, Suh is a great addition. I think Suh was hurt by 2 things. One, his level of play almost instantly in the league, and then his level of pay with Miami. He didn't go from being an all-pro player in Detroit to a replacement player in Miami. He went from all-pro to Pro Bowler. Now, that's a downgrade, but it's still better than most. Cris is right. He has not justified his salary, certainly with production getting to the quarterback. But he is still one of the most dominant run defenders in the league. Pro Football Focus last year had him as the 2nd best run defender on the interior defensive line behind only our guy, Snacks Harrison, guy that sat here a couple times. So do I think Suh could be a positive addition? Absolutely. But the contract the Dolphins gave him was always insane. You can't pay a D tackle like a quarterback. They were paying him $20 million a year before the cap went up, CC, and that's problematic for anybody. Like, it is very hard to justify any contract that makes you the highest paid in the history of your position. Like, if you're an A-plus player that hits free agency, you're almost by definition going to end up getting overpaid.
If he was getting 8 to 12 sacks, it would justify the money. Defensive tackles now in the league, they hadn't before. They didn't get a lot of sacks, but now they do, led by Aaron Donald. So he is not even in that, even though Pro Football Focus, the NFL is not a running league. When they go back to being a running league, then I can add a player like Ndamukong Suh. But it is not a running league. It is a throwing league. Yeah. And he is a situational player. That is in obvious running situations. Yes, he's dominant. He does require a double team, but he doesn't get to the passer, and he is not great in your locker room.
He's also a situational player in desire. He plays when he wants to play. He shows up when he wants to show up. And when he does it, he's there. But when he doesn't, I think you wonder what he's got left. So I guess my question, too, if it's not a Super Bowl contender, does he have, is there somewhere in the league where you see him fitting?
Listen, Ndamukong Suh is going to be on a roster soon. Like, Ndamukong Suh, the Dolphins would have liked to keep Ndamukong Suh if it wasn't for his cap figure. And while what you said, Jenna, a lot of people say that, I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that I believe that Ndamukong Suh is a guy who's taken a bunch of plays off. I just think he's a guy whose production doesn't show up on the stat sheet, which, by the way, you can't pay $20 million for a guy whose production doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But getting double teamed and freeing up other guys, being a guy that holds people to negative yards per carry or even 0 yards per carry is a beneficial thing. I think you pick a good team. If he'll sign for $7 million, I think that's a really good addition. If you got to pay him $12 million, I probably don't want him. To me, it's all about the salary.
Oh, this is the thing. When you add Ndamukong Suh, they added him to a defensive line that was very good. Did he make them any better? No, he didn't. Did he get that franchise, the Miami Dolphins, closer to the New England Patriots and Tom Brady? No, he didn't. And that's the reason why he's looking for employment today. As I said earlier, with Ndamukong Suh, buyer beware. where. Because there's certain plays you see him, he looks like he's the best defensive tackle in football. And then on others, I watch the film, it looks like someone else is occupying his uniform. So I can understand why you would say, man, does this guy play hard all the time? It's hard to say a guy doesn't play hard, but there are times where he looks like a different player.
All right. Coming up, hey, is John Elway off the hook with the Broncos signing Case Keenum? We'll break that down next on First Things First.